It's 8:13 now at News Talk 96.5 KPEL, and Monday, February 19th, 2018, the day the special session on fiscal issues starts in Baton Rouge. Joining us on the phone, State Senator Fred Mills.
Hi, good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, Robin, Bernie. Y'all doing okay?
We're doing fine, sir. How are you? How's your blood pressure already this morning?
My blood pressure is good, but I picked up a cold, and just thank goodness I have taunt pills to medicate me because I think I'd be in bed.
Oh, yeah.
Thank goodness
But
you
I'm
got them
doing
taunt
okay.
pills.
Exactly.
You happen to know a place.
Exactly. I know somebody.
All right, so this special session is going to get underway. We had a news item that we talked about briefly in some of our news coverage today about Taylor Barra meeting with the governor to discuss a few things. We had the Democrats kind of weighing in on saying they're ready to compromise. Then we had another suggestion by another group saying everybody's going to be jockeying for a position because what we do in this special session will have a huge impact on the governor's race. So, Fred?
Oh, wow.
I know, right? Okay, so
a lot to chew up today.
Absolutely. So let's begin kind of from the Medicaid standpoint. Is that really kind of where all the discussion might center?
I think so. I think from the House's side of the discussions, what I've been kind of brought into on some discussions is I think the House leadership is saying we will talk about some potential budget reform or some potential revenue measures if we can knock down some expenditures. And one of the major expenditures that the House wants to look at is Medicaid. And there's 3 or 4 bills that if you really look at what the governor allowed in the call, not only from a tax reform standpoint, he allowed Medicaid reform in there. So you're going to be seeing some bills on Medicaid eligibility, Medicaid fraud, premium payments, Medicaid copays, workforce requirements. And I really think if that legislation doesn't get passed, I'm not sure if the Republican leadership will move forward with any legislation.
Wow.
Just my prediction.
Now, and if that does happen, where does that leave us? We would have still the possibility to work some things out and then have the regular session and then maybe, we figure it out in a special session in June?
Well, I think if some of the Medicaid bills are passed, it's going to give the Department of Health and Hospitals, Louisiana Department of Health, they change the name so often I forget.
Yeah, no.
Louisiana Department of Health. It'll give them the legalities to apply for federal waivers to do these things. And as I've told a lot of folks, this is not a solution to the budget. This is more of a long-term fix or a hopeful fix to the cost of Medicaid. So it's not going to be one of these things that the bill is passed and you can automatically realize the savings. It would be the bill is passed, work on it, implement it, and it'll probably take a couple of years to see enforced. So I think one's a philosophical battle, and the next battle will take place on tax reform.
Wow.
So we saw this report from the legislative auditor about
oh, yeah. You want me to read it to you?
You read
Here's
it
our summation.
Because your words, Bernie, they're just so eloquent.
All right, so
brace yourself, Freddie.
Okay. Okay, I'm ready.
All right.
Ready.
A legislative auditor's report finds that Louisiana's state government and our local governments within the state continue to be challenged by a failure to collect all the monies that are owed to each of the entities. Now, Daniel Prepare's office also Daniel Prepare's office in their audit also said that local entities, local governments, municipalities, along with state government, continue to have a habit of paying out more money than they need to, and they have an inability still to adhere to adequate internal fiscal controls. Now,
oh my goodness.
Right. So, and it's saying as a summary for calendar year 2017 that those problems added up to potentially $622 million in waste and inefficiencies in municipalities throughout the state and the state as a whole. So
we're talking about that could be a huge chunk of this cliff we have, Fred.
Well, of course. You know, I'll be happy to come back on. I'm gonna get with Daryl, and I'd like to read a little bit more about it, because that's not even excusable.
I know, right?
That's enough to make you turn around on one of those illegal turnarounds on the way to Baton Rouge and come on back.
Exactly, Robbie Bernie. I'll give you one I saw that I lost my mind on. I'm reading an audit report on these managed care organizations, and I was on Carol Ross's show about that about 2 months ago.
Yeah.
On these managed care organizations that have their own prescription benefits management company, they own it themselves. And they charge, the prescription management company charges the managed care organization to adhere their own program, and that's all baked into the Medicaid reimbursement per member per month on managed care for Medicaid.
And they jack it up?
That's in the tens of millions of dollars. And I have some legislation this session to prohibit that type of pricing. But until sometimes those audits come out and you can see what's going on, it gives you a roadmap at least to try and correct it.
Sure, yeah. Absolutely.
But it's like you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that's kind of
those audits a lot of times are a roadmap to try and correct something. I mean, that's not excusable.
And I know a lot of people. Moon Griffon is a highly discussed individual, right? People discuss topics that he talks about all the time.
Exactly.
But one thing, you read this legislative auditor's report and you say, well, you know what? You may not agree with Moon on anything, some things, whatever the case may be. He pounds it into people's heads that we waste money in government. And, it's like, okay, here's the proof. So like you said, hopefully it is a roadmap to make change.
It's and Moon's right. I mean, a lot of times he'll bring things out that are absurd, and if we don't work on it, shame on us. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to take a good look at the audit, and if y'all want to visit again, I'm happy to.
No, Fred, you're not escaping us. We're going to call you the whole time this special session's going on.
No, Bernie's got my number. Don't just call. I'm happy to give y'all a description of it, but kind of circling back to the session, though, I think it is going to be very interesting to watch the healthcare piece debated almost parallel to budget reform. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to be hand in hand, and I think it's going to be an important debate for a lot of reasons.
So, how do you think both sides are going to? I just find that interesting in the sense that when you end up talking about the issue of Medicaid, don't you have a lot of people who then come forward because there are a lot of people that's the only way that they can survive.
It's true, and I'll give you one, for instance, a big discussion point of the House leadership is they want Medicaid recipients to have a copay when they receive services.
Right.
Well, I've been dancing that dance since the 80s as a provider.
Yeah.
The federal government basically, and it's a federal program, says that the provider shall collect the copay, but it also says in the next chapter of law that the provider shall also not deny services.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
you can't. That's right.
If you can't collect the copay, you still have to deliver services. So it is truly a provider cut. And as I think Rob reported earlier in the show on behavioral health, there's just not enough providers out there to start giving them cuts. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of times philosophically it sounds good, but realistically, can it be implemented?
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of discussions that'll take place this next few weeks.
Boy, and the philosophy of it is going to be torn apart from piece to piece because, it's frustrating to people who work every day to try to provide for themselves. But then we also understand the needs of people who maybe they are working and they're trying, but they can't make it happen.
I mean, 40% of our workforce is the working poor. I mean, it's
40%.
That's the last figure I read on it. And listen, there are so many things with this budget, and I mean, there's so many trapdoors or moving parts. Like one is, I mean, the existing budget. I'll just talk about Lafayette General. It does not fund the public-private partnership of Lafayette General. So that cooperative endeavor agreement contractually could be broken by Lafayette General, and if that's broken,
we're going to be in a lot of trouble because where are people going to get help?
That fragments a lot of healthcare in Acadiana. So there's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just a bundle of excitement and optimism this morning.
But look, okay, so a couple of things. Number one, I think it was I'm pretty sure it was Willie Mount when she was a senator, compiled a list of things in the state of Louisiana that were great because we're always getting hammered in the national media about everything they say sucks about Louisiana.
Right.
I see that, and we're going to talk to Casey Thompson with Hospice of Acadiana tomorrow, because it sounds like you're going to be speaking about positive living and just kind of this idea of, the sunny side up breakfast is what they're calling it. Fred, you are an optimistic person. Maybe you need to take over Willie Mount's list and have some
I think
staff.
I might do that.
I think you should.
I think I'm going to do that, because you're right. There is I've heard a speaker once say something. It was remarkable. He stood at a blackboard and he wrote from 1 to 100 on the board and forgot a number, and he said comments, and everybody said negative comments. And he finally said, well, I got 99 of them right.
Yes.
And, we do have to remember that. We do get a lot of things right.
Wow.
And, but our job and your job at KPEL is to bring those issues out that we need to correct. So, I mean, that's what we do.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, State
true.
Senator Fred Mills. Thanks for your time today,
yes,
sir.
Yes, thank you, sir. And I hope your cold gets better. Me and Rob hope you get a hot toddy when you go home.
I'm just hoping you stumble into the pharmacy with the lights off and just take something and hope it works. Just take something.
That's exactly right. Well, listen, y'all call anytime and we'll visit anytime y'all want.
All right.
Thank you, Senator.
Thanks.
Appreciate your time. All right. Wow. Nice
always
guy.
great. It's always great to have someone who's willing to just kind of talk real.
That's it. It's straightforward. Here it is. Here's what we're really facing.
Yep.
And, he is right about the cooperative endeavor.
All right, guys.
We're
going to talk about
LG.
Patty in the Park next.
Ooh,
big things coming up.
Speaking of positive stuff.
Yeah, we need to get positive now.
We're going to talk about music.
Stay
I can't
with
wait.
us next.
I'm creating my costume already.
Are you?
I know it's not necessarily a costumed event.
Yeah.
But Brett heard you the other day when you said wear your green tights.
I'm with you.
He's got a whole ensemble going on.
All I know, what I love about
I'm gonna have
Brett?
To match.
He can't turn down an easy
challenge. I know.
That's him.
Yep.
All right, it's 8:24. We're
love
back
my
with
Sheldon.
more information next. Always so good to talk to State Senator Fred Mills. We thank him again for his time. And just before that, we talked to Jackie Russo, and the computer in here so rudely interrupted our conversation. We're getting the full interview posted at kpel965.com. At the top of the hour, Fox just cut us off. So anyway, we will work on that, get that up for you as well. We continue to follow the news out of Ville Platte, where authorities are investigating a shooting threat made against Ville Platte High School, and we have updates on that story now at kpel965.com. Switching gears, coming up next month on actual St. Patrick's Night, it's going to be Saturday, March 17th, 360 Vodka and Corona premiere, present Patty in the Park. It's our annual big bash to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, and with a last name like Kirkpatrick, it should be no surprise to you that it is one of my favorite events we do all year long. Headlining the event, the Gin Blossoms. Talk about bring back some memories. All kinds of people excited. It's going to be a full house, and we take over Park International in downtown Lafayette and the surrounding streets. We can't help it. We don't have permits for it. People just start hanging out everywhere. It's a great, great event, and we are so excited to be welcoming the Gin Blossoms. Again, it's March 17th. Gates open at 5:30. The music starts at 6. There will be food inside, drinks inside, everything you need for your St. Patrick's Day event. So this is an all-ages event. It's not just an 18-plus or 21-plus event. Obviously, we're going to be checking IDs before you buy any alcoholic beverages, but kids 10 and under get in free. Over 10, you're going to need to get them a ticket. Right now, for KPEL listeners on Eventbrite, the tickets are $15. They will go up as we get closer to the event, and of course, tickets are in high demand. Last year, there was a time where we couldn't put a single person into the park. We had reached a limit. It's probably going to happen again this year, so make sure you get your tickets and get there early for Patty in the Park 2018, featuring the Gin Blossoms. Going to be a really great time. Brought to you by your friends over at Town Square Media.